And welcome, guys, to obviously, as you can see, round two Ratcon, uh, hosted in Ballarat. And as I've stated in the other videos, pretty hectic, pretty crazy. If you give me a second, sorry, we're back. Was just making sure I had the crazy missions. So here we go. Current score 0-1. Round two for Ratcon. We will jump in through as we go. This is hosted by the boys over Ballarat. And entertaining. Radicalism tickets are up. Hopefully, I will purchase one very soon. And that'll be the first tournament of next year, possibly, if not my second or third. I'm going to attempt to play more tournaments, and then we'll be switching up. So, as you can see, we have this is the current list that I'm playing. It is experimental prototype. Overall, not a huge fan, I think, of the list, and have changed. We'll be changing to Retaliation Cadre. But yeah, it did what I hoped it would do in terms of giving me flexibility and viability to be able to score and shoot. Um, in this match, I made mistakes in the scoring charts, and it turned into a loss for me. I've discussed it with the boys and friends and close people who I care about, and I guess while it's a learning curve, I've got to remember that I had fun. I still won two games, which the other games will go up. Yeah, it might have changed the outcome, but I wouldn't have won any more. It's just a learning curve. Just remember to make sure you score properly. So, we've got Farsight, Shadow Sun, two Cold Star Commanders, one with the Fusion Blades, one with the Supernova Launcher, two Broadsides, one's got a Fine Off, one's got a Star Sides, two Sunforged, a Ghost Killer Piranha. Riptide, three Stealth Suits, two lots of Vespered Stingwings, and Crew Carnivores. As you can see there, guys, Mission E, Taken Hold, Hammer Anvil. I was a defender. I also got to go first. I drew terrible secondaries. I haven't played Aeldari in more than 12 months. Thought it'd be okay. Thought I was going to have a good ability to score. I kind of did. As I said, I made mistakes in the actual scoring. I deployed conservatively. Gallenfest is a killer, but also it's what you have to do to win these games. In general, going second is a lot harder to score, although you do score last in T5, meaning you can not worry about primary in your command phase. And if you have enough to score max primary in T5, maybe you can swing a game that way, as well as getting good secondaries and knowing what you need to do to score to get past someone. Again, Ratcon runs some funky missions. So the twist in this mission was draft. We got a table that had 9 options on it: Adapt or Die, Rapid Escalation, High Octane, Lords of War, Martial Pride, Night Fighting, Point Blank, Bloodlust, and RuneScape. We went through one at each time, swiping them off until there was only 3 left, I think is what we got rid of. And then we played with all 3 twists in effect. I don't have a screenshot of what we chose. I didn't bring back what we chose. I know Lords of War ended up being one. Rapid Escalation was another. And I think High Octane was also used, with the 3 that got used. So, yeah. Again, Ratcon has some gnarly, funny-ass missions, and that's what it is. It's good fun. It's beer and pretzels. Radicalism is their event in April. It is 6 games over 2 days, much more competitive. I will be hopefully going with the option with the thoughts of running Ret Cadre, so Retaliation Cadre, and I'll jump. Well, yeah, I'll go through that at a later date. So into T1, I drew Area Denial and Recover Assets, which I managed to score 8 victory points. Obviously, I get 10 for painting, and no one scored any on primary. One was the gentleman I played. Aeldari was good value. I was super conservative. I didn't really suck out too much. I put a few units in some places where I hoped they would get attacked, but also knew that A, scoring victory points was one thing. B, I could overwatch, and I think I really possibly need to run into a second team of um, fire knives. Is it? No, it's star size with the dual flamers, because the Overwatch ability to not have to roll hits, like Flame Overwatch, is extremely good. Um, so having them do chip damage and take out, like, as you can see, this I think it was Sweeping Hawks is what they're called. Those guys got yeeted, like just killed them all, um, and they survived a little bit. Or you have the ability to repair drones every turn for a CP D3+1, and like a more unit was on one was had one wound left, and when I had one wound left, all of a sudden he's full again. You go on 4 wounds, he goes up to 5, almost full. 6 is full for these guys with shield drones. My opponent got cleanse, which you score for 2 victory points, and establish locus, which he sacked for the extra CP. So into T1, we look at 18-12, and I was feeling quite confident. Just knew I wanted to kill off a few things and hopefully get rid of the Avatar Kane and his tank as quickly as possible, which I got done in turn 3 because I got to score bring it down in that facet from memory. But yeah, trouble hits in the next turn because when we jump into it, I drew Assassination, Sabotage, and I could not score either. Really unlucky. I scored 10 on victory points for taking hold. Opponent scored 15. He got recover assets for 3 out of 5. I sacked Assassination for a CP. He sacked behind enemy lines for a CP. And, at the end of turn 3, we're looking 33-30. So games tightened up automatically. Turn 2. Games tightened up automatically. Really bad secondaries for me. I probably should have sacrificed a CP to redraw one, knowing that when I do want to use an ability, if I'm within 6 of Shadow Sun, she gives me the CP back on a 5-up. And look, I got a couple off. I kept forgetting about it until real late, so it's painful. But yeah, let's jump into T3. T3, I only picked up 5 points on when we slip over, take and hold. I don't think I should have scored more. I got defend, stronghold. I sacked tempting target, and my opponent picked up 15, 5 for no prisoners, and scored hold on defend, stronghold to T4. As you see, the scores are flipped, 41-50. I'm now behind. A little frustrated, and when we jumped into T4, I made mistakes on scoring from here on out. And I believe in T2 I made a mistake too, because my opponent wasn't on, didn't have 3 objectives at the start of turn. I had 3. So, yeah. As we see, T4, I drew Establish Locust and bring it down. I held on to it. I don't know why. I scored 10 on primary, and managed to bring it down. I slightly closed up the scores there. Opponent got 10 as well, and then gained Assassination and Area Denial. Really, I should have got rid of Established Locusts to make things a little more interesting. I'd gotten rid of the Avatar Kane. I'd gotten rid of a lot of units. He had not much left on the board, and T4, I probably could have scored a little better. I made a mistake in T3. I think I overscored my opponent. So, these are the scores that were officially lodged. It was a loss. Going back through it, the scores actually flip in my favour. But it is the past. So we ran out of time, and we spoke about T5. As you can see there, I've actually made note in there that I made a mistake. Um, I had 5 on 5 for skew and no mans, 5 on 5 for mark for death, and I only gave myself 10 out of 5 for take and hold, which doesn't work because I was on 3 objectives. That being said, the I was on 4 objectives, sorry. I automatically should have scored 15 for primary. My opponent scored 5 because I couldn't kill off. I couldn't get onto his home objective, and he scored 1 for engaging all fronts. So when I swapped the 2 scores around, I think there may have been somewhere else I made a mistake. I know that the game should have either ended 75-74 or 80-75. I have to figure it out. Again, look, good value, good opponent, good fun. I can't blame Irwin on anything. He was amazing. His Aeldari looked awesome. He ended up going on and going 4-1, which might have changed where he finished. I think he finished in the top 15. Would have made a big difference to him and a fairly big difference to me because he paired into different players. Both being that would have made us both. Would have made him 0-2 and me 1-1. So I would have paired into someone harder. He would have got a softer game, whereas I got the softer game in the afternoon, which we will get into because that then led me to a 1-2 end of day one. But yeah, as you can see, really struggled with secondaries, couldn't score. I probably should have sacked a few more. I had CP, we didn't even record it for turns 4 and 5. We ran out of time and I stopped checking. I probably should have got rid of established locust in T4 for something else. T3 I tried. I probably could have done cleanse, held on to it in T4 and scored it. Maybe instead, because I would have been able to cleanse on multiple objectives because I'd done enough. But yeah, as I said, I scored wrong. I made mistakes. The official score should have been, 80-74. Time pressures can get to you. You make mistakes. Aeldari are slightly more annoying with their 5 feel no pain. I used drone harassment and it worked. I actually is where I forced him to auto pass and spend a CP for battle shock. And then he moved within my drone again, and I forced it again, and because it's every time something moves in 12. But yeah, again, another one of those games where it could have gone either way. A little frustrating, but that's what it is. There is 3 more games to go. The good news is that I do win 2 of those 3. The bad news is it could have been 3-2. Which, then again, you don't know what's going to happen because, as I said, you win a game, you then get paired into other players that are 1-1, where I was getting paired into players that are 0-2, so someone who's a little weaker. It also helped that pairing. But yeah, as that is what it is. As I said, can't complain about sportsmanship. Everyone's really good. Yeah, I just don't know, but had fun, had a good weekend. As I said, Irwin was great, and onwards and upwards. So we'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.